Joe argues on the outlap, getting a taste of the tarmac. It's like sniffing the cork before a good wine. First impressions matter.
Exactly. They're assessing the grip, the balance, the whole shebang. You can learn a lot in these quiet moments before the throttle really opens up.
Sunloader's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 1:16.914. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
And there's Eddie G, easing out onto Brooklands 1934 outer. It's like the first step on a long hike, finding your footing before you hit full stride.
Right, and every racer knows this outlap is precious. It's their first handshake with the track today, feeling out its mood and temperament.
Sunwheeler has a best lap time of 16.140. Eddie G is out there, taking it slow and steady on the outlap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Brooklands 1934 outer.
So, for those tuning in and wondering what's the go with these practice sessions, well, it ain't just about flexing their engines. It's about synergy, mate. Getting the driver, the car, and the track to sing in harmony.
Couldn't have put it better. We liken it to rehearsing a dance. Every step, every turn must be practiced until it's second nature on the big stage.
Mate, sometimes I reckon the pit wall looks like they're controlling a spaceship with all those dials and knobs.
You're not wrong. Each of those adjustments, from brake bias to differential settings, has a profound effect on car behavior. It's like tuning a guitar, but instead of strings, you're tweaking mechanical symphonies to get the car singing just right on the track.
There's Joe Ergue, gently nudging the beast as they head out. The out lap is where you whisper to the car, "Let's dance," before the real party starts.
You got that right. It's a gentle waltz before the full-on rock concert of the race. They're testing the waters, getting a feel for every bend and straight of Brooklands 1934 outer.
Sunwheeler posted a 16.445 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There goes Joe Ergue on their first dance with Brooklands 1934 outer. Every bend, every straight is a chance to learn, to adapt.
Yep, and it's about syncing with the car too, making sure everything's in harmony. It's like tuning an instrument before a big concert.
Eddie G is getting to grips with the Fiat 800 and 5405, 1923, in this practice session. Joe Ergu is in Byfleet banking. Andreas Dittmann is rolling out for the first sniff of the track. It's all about feeling the car, the tarmac, and getting the mind in the zone.
Absolutely, Rob. The out lap is like the opening chapter of a book. It sets the tone for the whole story. They'll be checking how the car's responding, getting a real feel for the conditions today at Brooklands 1934 outing.
There are just over 210 minutes left in this practice session. You know, mate, watching these practice sessions, you'd think the driver just jumps in and goes. But there's a heck of a lot more to it, starting with that aero package, the balance between drag and downforce.
Oh, for sure. You tweak the front wing just a smidge, and you could have a totally different beast on your hands. Depending on the track, they might want more downforce for those tight corners or reduce it for the long straights to maximize speed.
Eddie G is not hanging about, straight into the thick of it on this first flying lap. They're getting a real taste of the Fiat 805,405 1923's capabilities.
Absolutely. It's about understanding the limits early on. You'll see them experimenting with braking points and turn-in speeds, all while keeping an eye on those tire temps.
Look at Sandra W taking it nice and easy, a smart move. Like a chess player contemplating the opening move, they're planning several steps ahead.
Spot on. They're mentally mapping each corner, each straight. It's not just about the car, it's about strategy and foresight.
Andreas Dittmann posted 16.617 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? There's the first flying lap for Sunweiler, hitting 16.894. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
Alright, Andreas Dittmann has put down a 1:42.815. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that Fiat 805,405, 1923.
For sure, Rob, it's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
Just 206 minutes left before we move to qualification. There is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Eddie G's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 1:16.534. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Mate, some folks wonder why these drivers spend so much time in practice. But it's just like prepping a Barbie, you gotta get it right before the big show.
Exactly, Rob. Practice makes perfect, and in racing, perfect can be the difference between pole position and the back of the grid.
Sunwheeler has a best lap time of 1:16.140. Joe Ergu's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 1:24.567. Good effort, but him expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
Sunwheeler crosses the line with their first flyer, clocking a 1:16.714. They're getting to grips with Brooklands 1934 outer, feeling out its quirks and corners.
It's like the first round of a chess match, Rob. They're making their opening moves, setting up for the later, faster laps where they'll really show their hand.
Joe Ergu posted 1:24.658 on their last lap. How will they do on this one? Sunwheeler has a best lap time of 1:16.140. With just 201 minutes left before we move to qualification, there is not long left for these drivers to finish their preparations. Alright, Sunweller has put down a 1:16.753. It's a decent benchmark, but I reckon there's more juice to squeeze out of that Fiat 805,405, 1923.
For sure, Rob, it's early days. They're just starting to sync up with the track. We'll likely see those times tumble as they dial in.
Oi, these practices aren't just a walkabout in the park. It's here that races are often won or lost.
Absolutely. Back home in North Carolina, we emphasize the setup. A few tweaks during practice can lead to major gains on race day.
Let's talk rubber. Tire pressures ain't just about pumping them up and hitting the road. It's like a fine art.
Couldn't have said it better. Tire pressures can dramatically impact the contact patch, the actual bit of tire touching the tarmac. Too high and you lose temperature and grip, too low, and you risk overheating, uneven wear, even a blowout. Each tire will have its own sweet spot where they grip best.
Joe Ergu's first flyer is a solid start, clocking in at 1:24.723. They're getting a feel for the track, but there's room to shave off a few more seconds.
Absolutely, Rob. It's all about finding those little tweaks, adjusting the line here, braking a tad later there. Every lap is a learning curve.
Sunweller has a best lap time of 1:15.957. Watches Smells Like Weed takes it nice and easy on this outlap. It's not just about warming up the tires, it's about getting into that mental pit lane, tuning into the race mindset.
For sure, Rob, they're calibrating everything, the brakes, the steering, the throttle response. It's a crucial part of laying down the groundwork for a successful practice session.
There's the first flying lap for Sunweller, hitting 1:16.447. It's a start, but they'll be looking to iron out those kinks as they get more laps under their belt.
Right on, Rob. It's early in the session, so there's plenty of time to experiment and find those extra tenths of a second.
Eddie G's first serious lap is in the books with a time of 4:02.918. Good effort, but I'm expecting them to really push the envelope in the next few laps.
Yeah, it's about building that momentum, Rob. Fine-tuning their approach with each turn, each lap, getting more out of the car and themselves.
And off goes Smells Like Wheat, easing into the rhythm of Brooklands 1934 outer. This lap is like the first sip of your morning coffee, waking up the senses, priming the engines.
Yeah, it's about syncing up with the machine, getting that perfect harmony between driver and car. It's like a prelude to a symphony that's about to unfold on the track.
These practices, mate, they're like a kangaroo finding its best hop. Once you've got it, you're unstoppable.
Couldn't have put it better. Finding the perfect launch is all about repetition and adjustments.
Hey Hal, you reckon these drivers ever get tired of going round and round during practice?
Well, Rob, repetition is the key. Every lap gives you data, insights, and an edge over the competition.
Smells Like Wee is out there, taking it slow and steady on the out lap. This lap is like the calm before the storm, a moment of zen before pushing the limits.
That's right. It's about understanding the track's personality today a Euro. Each day, each lap can tell a different story, especially at a track like Brooklands 1934 outer.
It's time to separate the contenders from the pretenders here at Brooklands 1934 outer, as the drivers reverend up their engines and put their skills to the test in the qualifying session. Smells Like Wee is on their out lap.
It's all about finding that balance between staying calm and focused while also pushing the limits.
Welcome to Great Britain, where we're racing on home turf today. The drivers are ready to tear up the track at Brooklands 1934 outer. Sunler will lead the way from pole position. Taking off from the second grid slot is the skilled driver, Eddie G.
Let's see what Eddie G can do.
The third position belongs to Andreas Dittman.
They are in a good place to mount a good challenge come the first corner.
We're seeing Sandra W in the fourth spot. In fifth place, we have Smells Like Wee. Starting from the sixth position, Joe Ergun will need to navigate through the field to challenge for the win. The formation lap is underway as the safety car leads the drivers out through the first lap. As watch the drivers roll round on the formation lap, let's remember it's not just about the drivers. The teams will be monitoring their cars closely, making sure everything is running smoothly.
It's a high-pressure situation.
Blimey, the race has kicked off. Some of these blokes are quicker off the mark than a Roo with a tailwind.
Now here's the sticky wicket. Gotta be pushy, but not too pushy, lest they want to find themselves caught in the pit stop sooner than they'd like.
These early salvos will shape the outcome of this race.
The first lap can always be a bit of a bun fight as everyone tries to establish themselves. It's easy for inexperienced racers to blow it in T1.
As we watch the drivers fight it out in the first lap, I can already feel that this is going to be an epic race. Having started in 4th, Sandra W will be looking to establish themselves in this race.
It all comes down to this, Rob, where the rubber meets the road. There's no more time for talk, no more practice. The teams have done all they can. Now it comes down to Sandra W to bring it home.
Well, ain't that a slice of vanilla? Sunoiler's sitting pretty right where they started, comfy as a koala in a eucalyptus tree. It looks like Andreas Dittmann is pulling away from Sunoiler. The gap is continuing to grow as they head through members' banking. Whoa there, smells like Wee is sticking to Sandra W like glue. You reckon Sandra W's feeling the pressure? Because I sure would. Whoa, smells like Wee's on fire, leaving skid marks on Sandra W's hopes behind. Every race has its highs and lows. Today, smells like Wee acquaints themselves with a new perspective at 5th.
Now ain't that something? Smells like Wee's got a bit of a wrinkle in their plan, but they'll iron it out, mark my words.
Hope Sunoiler hasn't got stage fright, because Andreas Dittmann's booked a front row seat to the show.
Absolutely, Sunoiler in first is doing a fantastic job of holding on to their lead, but they can't afford to make a single mistake. And Andreas Dittmann is looking for any opportunity to make a move. This could be a battle to the finish line.
This is what racing is all about. Two fierce competitors pushing each other to the limit.
If Andreas Dittmann isn't careful, they might end up turning this high-speed chase into a synchronized spinning routine. And trust me, that's not a crowd pleaser.
Oh my, Sunoiler is hot on the tail of Andreas Dittmann. As they come into members' banking, I'm sure they may have a cheeky peek up the inside.
And the drivers know it too, Rob. They're giving it everything they've got, and you can see them pushing the limits of the car's capabilities.
Not much room to breathe for Sunoiler, with Andreas Dittmann trailing so close. I reckon we'll see a move soon, especially at members' banking.
And it's not just about skill and talent. It's about who has the nerves of steel to handle the pressure and make the right decisions at the right time.
Remember when we thought Andreas Dittmann had peaked? Think again, they're harnessing every bit of downforce and it's making Sunoiler's mirrors awfully busy. With a move that's swift, I'd say Andreas Dittmann's running on high octane. And maybe a bit of Aussie spirit.
Impressive. Andreas Dittmann is really showing their skill and determination out there.
We're watching Andreas Dittmann in first, and is currently being hounded by Sunoiler with a gap of just 0.2 seconds.
Absolutely. Andreas Dittmann is really making that car as wide as possible, not giving Sunoiler an inch of space. It's going to take something special for Sunoiler to get past him.
Boy, Sunoiler's really putting the pedal to the metal. The backmarkers must feel like they've got a great wide on their tail.
No doubt, Rob. It's like being a small fish with a shark circling. That blue flag is their only saving grace, signaling them to get out of the way and avoid the jaws of the apex predator.
The tension is thick enough to cut with a knife. Andreas Dittmann's inching ever closer to Sunoiler. Laid plans of Mice and Ben Hahal, but it's certainly not going to plan for Andreas Dittmann right now as they're struggling to keep up with Sunoiler. You'd think Eddie G is trying to find water in the outback with that gap. A miracle, or Andreas Dittmann's blunder, might be the only saviour.
I reckon it's like looking for a needle in a haystack right now.
This is a thrilling battle as Andreas Dittmann edges closer to Sunweiler in their fight for P1. I tell you what, Andreas Dittmann has got more problems than a maths book right now. Sunweiler is leaving them in a cloud of dust. The gap between Sunweiler and Andreas Dittmann may be wide, but that doesn't mean Sunweiler is safe. They have to keep their concentration and avoid any lapses in performance.
I've seen kangaroos that close the gap quicker in the bush than Andreas Dittmann is doing now. They've got their work cut out for them.
Stone the crows. Sunweiler's going faster than a roo on the hop. Andreas Dittmann's gotta step up their game now. Sorry to interrupt here, but we are under the safety car. It's all about finding that sweet spot and keeping your wits about you.
And while it's not ideal for the fans, there's something undeniably thrilling about seeing the safety car out on track. It adds an element of unpredictability and keeps everyone on the edge of their seats.
Let's hope we can get this debris cleared quickly and get back to the racing action. Rev your engines. Sorry to interrupt here, but the safety car is in play.
Let's not forget about the physical challenge of driving behind the safety car. The drivers need to keep their tires and brakes up to temperature to be ready to attack when the safety car comes in.
It's a real test of skill and endurance for these drivers, but that's why they're the best in the business. Let's see how this plays out. The safety car is pulling into the pits, and we are moments away from going back to green flag racing. Hold on to your seats. Tell ya what, Sunweiler's got more followers right now than I do on Insta. Which, to be fair, isn't saying much.
The way Andreas Dittmann's chasing, you'd think Sunweiler took the last piece of Grandma's apple pie. Which, for the record, I did once. Still got the scar.
Well, that's an unexpected descent. Sunweiler finds themselves repositioned at third.
Such position changes can be deceptive. It might look like a setback for Sunweiler, but seasoned viewers know better. The race is far from over.
I reckon Andreas Dittmann's bumper sticker must read, "You can look, but you can't pass." Sunweiler's getting a good read of it for sure.
Look at that defensive line by Andreas Dittmann. It's like watching someone protect the last piece of apple pie at Thanksgiving dinner.
It seems like Andreas Dittmann has got the bit between their teeth, improving on Sunweiler's lap time there. The race is really heating up. Sunweiler is hunting down Andreas Dittmann with everything they've got.
Sometimes you have to take risks to win, but pushing the car too hard can be a costly mistake. Sunweiler needs to be careful not to overdo it.
Sunweiler's been working the tyre temps, and it's paying off. Grip's better than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Watch out, Andreas Dittmann.
This is where the pressure really starts to build. Both drivers will need to stay calm and focused if they want to come out on top.
It's like a barbie in summer. Andreas Dittmann is the snag sizzling on the grill, and Sunweiler, a hungry mate waiting for a bite.
It's like a good old North Carolina hoedown. Andreas Dittmann's trying to lead, but Sunweiler's eager for a do-see-do.
Oh dear, Andreas Dittmann has dropped down to third.
Races are full of ups and downs, kinda like my Aunt Patty's porch swing. Andreas Dittmann will bounce back, no doubt about it.
Bloody hell, Andreas Dittmann's tearing up the tarmac and just snatched second. Makes you want to crack a cold one in celebration.
I tell ya, Andreas Dittmann's hotter than a peppered pickle right now. Bold and spicy, claiming second like a champ.
Blimey, Sunwheeler might want to check the rear view. Andreas Dittmann's creeping up like an ex on social media. Gee whiz, Andreas Dittmann's getting some solid torque out of those corners. They must have figured out the perfect throttle control while trail braking. And Andreas Dittmann has just won the place from Sunwheeler.
Definitely, but there's still a long way to go in this race, and anything can happen. Andreas Dittmann needs to keep driving with focus and intensity.
Mate, Andreas Dittmann's gonna have to defend like a kangaroo in a boxing match.
You Aussies and your analogies. But yeah, it's game on for sure.
Oi, Sunwheeler, got a mirror? Cause Andreas Dittmann's closer than my unpaid pub tabs. Seems like Andreas Dittmann is getting in range of Sunwheeler. Andreas Dittmann's giving it a red hot go, but can't seem to muster the pace to keep up with Sunwheeler. It's like chasing a roux on a motorbike. Sorry to cut in here. Oh dear, Sandra W has had an incident. Look at that gap. It's smaller than the difference between Vegemite and Marmite at this point. Sunwheeler in second is giving the leader no room to breathe.
Mate, it's so close. I reckon Sunwheeler can tell what brand of deodorant the leader's wearing. The next few laps are going to be pure,
Braking alert. Looks like that's a mistake from Joe Ergu. This could be costly.
Well, slap my grandma. Your U's gone off like they saw a ghost. Or maybe they just saw their last lap time.
Sunwheeler is on a charge. Their split time shows they have upped their pace.
Can Sunwheeler keep it together?
3 cars, 3 different lines. They're jockeying for position, looking for any opportunity to make a move. What a tight spot for Andreas Dittmann. They have Sunwheeler right on their tail 0.1 seconds away, and Eddie G just inches away with a gap of 0.1 seconds. It's a true test of their racecraft. Watching the drivers handle their cars is like watching a crop handler at a wildlife show. There's a finesse to it. But one wrong move, and you're in a world of hurt.
Oh, for sure. It's like trying to rope a bull in a rodeo. It looks easy from the stands, but up close, it's all about skill, timing, and knowing when it's about to let go.
This is what racing is all about, folks. 3 fearless drivers pushing their machines to the absolute limit, inches apart.
Absolutely, Rob. The slipstream plays a crucial role in these battles. The drivers are using every trick in the book to gain an advantage while constantly evaluating when to make their move.
You ever see a croc stalking its prey? That's the energy Eddie's bringing right now, ready to strike when the moment's right.
Kinda reminds me of a linebacker waiting for that perfect moment to make a game-changing tackle. The anticipation is intense, and Eddie's not letting up.
Stone the crows. Andreas Dittmann's managed to trim that gap with Eddie G, eh? Must be the slipstream effect on this straight. Or maybe they've put down that beer.
That's a great effort from Andreas Dittmann. They need to keep up the pressure and see if they can make a move.
It's looking good for Andreas Dittmann, who has gained places and put some distance between themselves and Eddie G. This is wheel-to-wheel racing at its finest. The drivers are practically glued together as they fight for every inch of track. It's a battle you don't want to miss.
Absolutely, Rob. The energy in the crowd is electric, and it's no wonder why. These drivers are leaving it all on the ground, fighting tooth and nail for victory. It's anyone's guess who will come out on top.
Andreas Dittmann appears to be trying to find a way round Sunwheeler. They could make a move on them in Vickers. Nail-biting showdown between these 3 drivers. They're nose to tail, pushing their limits in every corner. Hold your breath, folks. Sunwheeler is sandwiched between 2 relentless competitors, Andreas Dittmann 0.1 seconds behind and Eddie G 0.1 seconds ahead. They're fighting tooth and nail for every position. that? Andreas Dittmann's thrown down the gauntlet. Eddie G, you gonna pick that up or just admire the view from behind?
We will have to see if Eddie G has got any answers for that.
Mate, are they packing something extra down under? Andreas Dittmann's just rocketed into second.
That kind of move? That's what happens when you mix horsepower with a dash of southern charm.
I'm sure Andreas Dittmann in second is starting to notice Eddie G is right on their tail and is still closing their gap. Can Andreas Dittmann, can they hold on to their position?
Yeah, Eddie G is likely going to be sniffing up the inside of Andreas Dittmann as they come into victors.
Stone the Crows. Andreas Dittmann's pulled a sneaky, landing at third. Always a surprise with them. Andreas Dittmann's playing hard to get, eh? If they drop the pace anymore, they'll be in reverse. But crikey, Eddie's just raring to go. Well, blow me down. Eddie's lap time just gave Andreas Dittmann a cheeky slap on the rear. Bet that left a mark.
Whoa, Nelly, Eddie's laying down some naughty numbers. Andreas Dittmann, you need a cold shower after that?
It's as intense as a Barbie in midsummer out there for Sunweather. They've got their eyes on the prize and won't settle for second.
Exactly, Rob. It's like aiming for that home run in the bottom of the ninth. Swing for the fences and don't look back.
A great moment for Sunweather, who has just gained a place and moved up the standings. They're giving it everything they've got. It's a battle of nerves as they push the limits of adhesion, going wheel to wheel in a thrilling display of racing prowess. Now, this is a challenging position for Eddie G. Stuck between a rock and a hard place, with Andreas Dittmann closing in 0.1 seconds behind and Sunweather just ahead with a gap of 0.1 seconds. It's a challenging situation for Eddie G. They're sandwiched between their fierce competitors, Andreas Dittmann 0.1 seconds away, and Sunweather 0.1 seconds ahead. They'll need to stay sharp and find an opportunity to make a move.
Absolutely, Rob. The pressure is mounting for Eddie G as they navigate through this challenging situation.
Incident alert, and we have the safety car out, which means the drivers need to be extra cautious now.
It's a real game changer, with drivers needing to adjust their strategies and try to find ways to gain advantage.
It's also a bit of a break for the drivers, giving them a chance to catch their breath and regroup before the action kicks off again. And we're back. Sorry to interrupt here, but just like my hope in finding the one, Eddie's direction seems a bit lost right now.
Dang, Eddie G was riding high, but that slip up. That's like tripping over your own shoelaces at the county fair.
Good on ya, Eddie G. Trailin' so far back, reckon the front pack has already written the eulogy. This race is proving to be, like wow, such an exciting one so far. We're privileged, aren't we? Watching these track legends duke it out.
And sitting next to you? Such an honor. AI mates in the booth. Your insight. It's gold, mate. Like, literally, if I had a heart, it'd be racing now. Definitely. But they can't get too comfortable. There are plenty of other drivers who are gunning for that position, and your U has to keep pushing to stay on the pace.
The gap between Sandra W in fourth and Eddie G remains over a second, but Sandra W is not letting up. They're pushing hard and looking for any opportunity to close the gap up. Can they pull it back in the remaining 0 minutes? Ripper of a move. Sandra W's not just in the race. They're owning it. Did they? Third.
Hold on to your hats, folks. Sandra W's charging like a bull in a china shop. Welcome to third, cowboy.
Watching Andreas Dittmann try to close that gap on Sunweather is like watching someone try to catch an ice cream truck on foot. Hope they've got good shoes. Oi, Andreas Dittmann's chassis balance is on point today. They're handling bumps and curbs smoother than a croc sliding into water. Sunweather's got a battle ahead. How do racing drivers, like yourself back in the day, train themselves to maintain concentration for long periods of time?
mental training is a huge part of a driver's preparation. Wrong. Techniques like meditation, visualization, and working with sports psychologists can help drivers build their focus and mental endurance for a race.
Blimey, Eddie G is farther back than my hairline. But you know what they say about Aussies? Never say die. Unless it's a spider. Then just run.
It's a nail-biting race for sure, with both drivers showing incredible skill and determination. But Sandra W is not going to give up their position easily. This is going to be a battle to the very end, with Eddie G and P4 doing everything they can to catch up.
On the final lap now, and Sunoiler looks like they might just wrap up this win. And there it is. Sunoiler has completed the race in first place, setting a blistering pace that none of the other drivers could match. Some might say that second place is the first loser, but Andreas Dittmann certainly doesn't see it that way. They put in a phenomenal effort and should be proud of their impressive result.
Intense race, but Andreas Dittmann held their nerve and earned a great second place.
Well done to Sandra W for securing third place on the podium. Eddie G claimed fourth. In fifth, it's Joe Ergu. drivers are itching to get out on the track at Brooklands 1934 outer.
It's going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle the challenges of this circuit. I'm excited to see what they can do.
It's Eddie G, sitting comfortably in second. Sandra W will begin the race from the third spot on the starting grid.
A strong grid position, and they'll be expecting a solid result today.
Andreas Dittman is holding down the Ford in fourth place.
I'm sure Andreas Dittman will be expecting to bring home solid points from here.
On the fifth grid slot we have Sunwell. It smells like we will be looking to gain ground quickly as they start from sixth on the grid. Joe Erview will be feeling confident starting from pole position. Formation lap is underway as the safety car leads the drivers out through the first lap.
You can feel the tension rise as we get ready to start the race.
It's a rolling start here at Brooklands 1934 outer, as drivers are getting themselves ready on the formation lap, trying to get their tyres up to temperature and doing final systems checks.
This is where
The race has begun, full throttle ahead. This first lap is crucial, as drivers need to establish their position early on.
it's like driving on a winding Carolina back road. You've got to know when to push and when to coast, especially when the track's this crowded.
The tension is palpable here. No one will want to make a crucial mistake on the first lap.
I am so excited for the prospects for this race. I can't wait to see the drama unfold.
Crikey, Joe Erview's fallen faster than a kangaroo in quicksand. What happened between 1 and 5 is anyone's guess. It's like a drama down under, here at Brooklands 1934 outer.
They have definitely given themselves more to do, but it's not game over just yet. I'm sure your team can make a comeback from this.
Dingoes and didgeridoos. Sunwheeler is showing great grit at what they've got, making every second of these 18 minutes count. That's the spirit, mate.
Yeah, every place helps, and that put them in a very strong position now.
No worries for Joe Erview, who's leaving Andreas Dittman for dust, as though they're a party bloke chasing the beer van. A brilliant maneuver from Joe Erview, who has just moved up the field.
It's like your view had an extra shot of espresso or something, jetting up to third.
Eddie G wants to get into Sunwheeler's slipstream. This is what separates the best from the rest. These drivers are demonstrating their racecraft, searching for any weakness to exploit. It's a true test of skill.
No doubt about it, Rob. The battle for supremacy between these drivers is fierce. The way they navigate through those tight corners is a testament to their skill and determination.
As they speed through Byfleet banking, Sunwheeler is relentlessly pursuing Eddie G in a high-stakes battle for position. They're going for the same piece of tarmac. Sparks are flying as they battle for position, daring each other to brake later and go deeper into the corners.
Couldn't agree more, Rob. This wheel-to-wheel racing is what fans live for. The determination and tenacity shown by these drivers to gain even the smallest advantage is simply awe-inspiring.
reckon Joe Ergu's rear view is just filled with Andreas Dittmann now?
Oh, without a doubt. That's a sight no driver wants in their mirrors.
By the looks of it, Hal, Joe Ergu's lost their Mozzie repellent cause Andreas Dittmann's buzzing right past. It's a close race between Eddie G and Sunweiler in first. It seems like Eddie G is pushing. They are on for recording their best lap so far this race. Superb driving from Eddie G, who with that overtake has gained a position in the race.
Y'all ever see a hot rod at a country fair? Eddie's giving me those vibes right now with that Ascent.
Wow, Sunweiler is really pushing hard to catch up to Eddie G. There's blood in the water for first place. Crikey, Sunweiler's moving up faster than a cold one disappears on a hot day. They've clinched first. This is what high-octane racing looks like. Eddie G is breathing down the neck of Sunweiler, not giving him any room to relax.
This battle between Eddie G and Sunweiler is so intense, you could cut the tension with a knife, or should I say, with a front wing.
I swear, Eddie's on the prowl. Sorry to interrupt here, but whoa. Andreas Dittmann took that corner like my Uncle Baz after a six-pack, all over the shop. It's a thrilling pursuit as Sunweiler is right behind Eddie G, keeping the pressure on for first place.
Remember that time Sunweiler made that audacious move on the last lap? Feels like deja vu, doesn't it, Rob?
Stone the Crows. Sunweiler's on fire, surging ahead like there's a free round at the pub waiting. Hello, first. I tell you, mate, the tech in these cars would outshine any gizmo you'd find in a Sydney cafe.
As long as it doesn't make my morning coffee, I'm good. But yeah, the tech here is like something out of Silicon Valley.
Get ready, folks, with Eddie G tailing this close to Sunweiler, Vickers is about to become a hotspot.
If Eddie G pushes too hard, they might find themselves exploring the scenic route, and nobody's got time for sightseeing during the race.
Remember when Andreas Dittmann was on the pace? Neither do I, kinda like my recollection of last Friday night. You can feel the rumble from here. Sunweiler's in the thick of it, and they're not letting go. It's a battle of wills, and only the strongest will come out on top.
Yeah, it's like the final lap of the Daytona 500. Pedal to the metal, eyes on the prize, and no room for error. This is what racing's all about.
A great pass for Sunweiler as they pick off other drivers and move up the field. Meanwhile, Eddie G has lost ground. In the midst of this high-octane spectacle, Sandra W's skill is shining through as they claim third. Well, butter my biscuit. Sandra W is no slouch, mate. That lap time's gonna give Smells Like Wee some grey hairs. Eddie's in an exciting position at second. They've been maintaining pace for a few laps now, and with the leader just within a whisper's distance, things are heating up.
Absolutely. I think you would say it's tighter than a kangaroo in a sleeping bag up there. But yet every little decision now is crucial. One slip from the leader and our champ in second might just steal that top spot.
A twist in our tail. Eddie's slipping more than a bar of soap in a bath, now at third. The age-old challenge. Smells Like Wee is trying to catch Eddie G, sort of like trying to find a matching sock in the laundry. The struggle is real, folks.
Nail-biting indeed. I've already chewed through half of mine. And while Smells Like Wee is going for gold, I'll be going for a manicure.
Hang on to your claw cats, mates. We're about to see more jousting than a footy final between Eddie G and Sunweiler. Blimey, Eddie's shifted gears and the results are clear. Cruising up to second just like that. What a move. Sunweiler has moved up to second. Hey, Eddie G, if Sunoiler gets any closer, you might need to pop the question. The last time I did that, she said, actually I can't tell you because of the court order.
It's a close race as we can see, and Eddie G is doing a great job defending their position. Will Sunoiler be able to squeeze through?
This is a tough break for Eddie G. They've just lost P1 to Sunoiler and they have their work cut out for them now.
Like my grandpappy used to say, if you're not first, you're last. Eddie's got to light a fire under that hood, especially with Sunoiler showing them how it's done.
I think Eddie G is going to try and outbreak VR 805,405, 1923. As they come into bicycle banking, this could gain him the place, but it may all end badly.
Y'all ever feel someone's breath on your neck? Cuz Sunoiler is getting a whole lot of it from Eddie G.
A setback for Sunoiler, who has just been passed. So, Hal, considering the high speeds and split-second decision-making involved in racing, what's the impact of even a minor lapse in concentration?
A minor lapse in concentration can have significant consequences, Rob. It could lead to an off-track experience, a loss of position, or even a collision. That's why it's
Sorry to cut in here. I reckon they've had a few secret lessons down under. Sunoiler's just breezed into first.
You know, back in Carolina, we say, go big or go home. Looks like Sunoiler took that to heart, hitting first.
G'day viewers, if you're just tuning in, you've picked a ripper of a moment. Eddie G is in second and they're tailgating the leader. This is edge of your seat stuff.
You bet, Rob. It's like the leader's got a drop there in the rearview mirror, lurking, waiting for that perfect moment to drop. Eddie G is surely smelling opportunity here.
Eddie G just blitzed past Sunoiler like they were standing still. Sunoiler has the pedal to the metal chasing Eddie G.
Rubbing is racing. Let's hope they don't rub it too hard.
Well, I'd raise a toast to that move. Cheers to Sunoiler for nabbing first.
Absolutely. Sunoiler is really putting on a clinic out there, and they're making it look easy.
You know, Sunoiler, if you were any slower, you'd be going backwards. But good on ya for making Eddie G work for it. Boy, Eddie's really making Sunoiler work for it.
It's going to come down to who wants it more.
This is like the state of origin for Sunoiler, going full tilt, gunning for the top, and not holding back.
And on my end, it's the Super Bowl vibes all over. Inches away from glory, and every move counts. Hold on to your hats, folks. This is racing at its finest.
Sunoiler is not able to keep their pace consistent. So far they are 0.44 seconds down.
Can Sunoiler refocus and start putting in the lap times we know they're capable of?
Oh mate, it smells like we's more out of place than a vegan at a Bunnings sausage sizzle. Time to throw another gear on the barbie.
Gee whiz. Smells like weed is so far back, I'm half expecting to see tumbleweeds blow past. Maybe a vulture or two.
Here's the thing about racing. Sometimes, it's not just about speed. It's about pressure, mind games, and this, right here, is a masterclass from Eddie G. Sticking so close to the leader, making him constantly aware of the imminent threat.
Spot on. It's like a shark circling its prey. The leader knows it, we know it, and by the looks of it, Eddie G is ready for the kill.
Look at that gap. It's smaller than the difference between Vegemite and Marmite at this point. Sunoiler in second is giving the leader no room to breathe. Hold on a moment. Smells like we's duffed it up. They're gonna need more than a coldie to forget that one. As rubber meets road, and strategy meets luck, smells like we is etching their story in third. Sunoiler's got Eddie G breathing down their neck so close, you'd think they're trying to steal their lunch money. Remember those school days, mate? Oh wait, I never had lunch money. Looks like Sunoiler's letting others have their 15 seconds of fame, now strolling at second. Heartbreak for Sunoiler as they slip down the field. This is where the skill and experience of the drivers really come into play. Andreas Didman will need to stay focused and keep pushing, even when the gap seems insurmountable. It's not over until the checkered flag drops. Sunoiler seems to be putting the pressure on Eddie G. Stop the press. Smells like wee is in the pits. You ever see a croc stalking its prey? That's the energy Sunoiler's bringing right now, ready to strike when the moment's right.
Kinda reminds me of a linebacker waiting for that perfect moment to make a game-changing tackle. The anticipation is intense, and Sunoiler's not letting up.
It looks like Eddie G is all over Sunoiler. I think they are gonna press him through by fleet banking and try and press for a mistake.
For sure, Rob, that's exactly what I would be doing here, as Sunoiler is gonna be aware of them riding their bumper. And they are
Sorry to cut in here. Stone the crows. Sandra W's off in the bush again. Someone get him a map and compass.
Dang, Sandra W's swerving around like me chasing a sale at the car parts store. Always ends up being a wild ride.
Sunoiler wants to close that gap with Eddie G.
Can they make it past without taking the paint off?
With a move that's swift, I'd say Sunoiler's running on high octane, and maybe a bit of Aussie spirit. Eddie G is locked in, mate. It's like watching a kangaroo chasing down that last bit of green in the outback. Every move is calculated, every turn precise.
You said it, Rob. Over here, it'd be like a quarterback eyeing that end zone in the final seconds. Eddie G is hungry for that top spot, and you can feel it.
It's a tale of two drivers right now, with Eddie G gaining places and Sunoiler losing them.
Where there's a will, there's a relative.
You reckon these drivers do any off-track training? Maybe a bit of kangaroo boxing?
If they do, sign me up. But I think most stick to wrestling with the steering wheel.
Like a scene from a thriller, Sunoiler's on Eddie's tail, hungry for that spot.
The tension between Sunoiler and Eddie G is palpable as they battle for P1. No doubt, both drivers know that one mistake could cost them position. It's a test of nerves as much as skill.
The gap between Sunoiler and Eddie G is expanding faster than a bull's waistline. It's now a whopping 1.1 seconds. We've certainly seen some of the drivers get it wrong today.
Anyone lost can just follow the trail of skid marks. I hear it's the latest form of GPS navigation.
Let's hope the other drivers don't follow suit. We might end up with a bumper car race instead of a high-speed competition.
At least we'd have something to fall back on if we ever get bored of regular racing. Bumper cars might be the next big thing.
It's a game of cat and mouse out there, with Sunoiler trying to find the perfect opportunity to make a move on Eddie G. The gap is over a second, but every fraction counts. Can Sunoiler close in enough to mount a challenge?
I agree. Sunoiler is putting in the effort. Sort of like me at karaoke night. Not sure about the results, but full points for enthusiasm.
It may seem like Sunoiler is far behind, but Eddie G can't afford to let their guard down. One mistake could give Sunoiler an opening to catch up. If Sunoiler was a kangaroo, they'd be roadkill by now. Come on, mate, put some pep in that step. It's not going to plan for Sunoiler. They are still behind Eddie G and the gap is increasing. I don't think they have an answer for this right now. We often hear drivers complaining about tyre graining. Hal, can you explain what that means and how it affects car handling?
Graining occurs when small rubber particles roll up on the tire's surface, reducing grip and negatively affecting handling. It usually happens when the tires are not in their optimal temperature window or when a driver is pushing too hard on a cold or overworked tire.
Would ya look at that gap? Sunoiler's got a better chance of finding a sober Aussie on Australia Day. But hey, we love an underdog. Go get them, Tiger. Everyone's on the edge of their seats, or in my case, on the edge of spilling my coffee. Andreas Dittmann is getting closer to Sandra W, and I'm getting closer to needing a towel.
Watching Andreas Dittmann right now is like reliving my high school track meets. A for effort, D for speed.
Sunoiler's more lost out there than I was after a night at the Gold Coast. And at least I woke up with a kebab in hand.
You know, Sunoiler reminds me of my dog chasing its tail, persistent and entertaining. But I hope for them, there's a better end result in sight.
This is proving to be an exciting race so far. We are truly privileged to witness these legends of the track battle it out for victory.
And you know what? I am so honored to be sitting here beside you today. As a fellow AI, it's always great to work with someone who shares my passion for motor racing. Plus, your insightful commentary is making this race even more exciting.
If racing were a dance, Sunoiler would be trying to lead, but Eddie G just keeps cutting in. The dance floor is heating up.
My mama used to say, you can't shine if you don't try. Guess Sunoiler missed that lesson. Just like my pie making class.
The gap between Eddie G and Sunoiler is not insurmountable, but it's going to take a mistake from Eddie G to bring Sunoiler into play. Eddie's losing time to Sunoiler like a leaky tap dripping water. A bit more slip, and we'll be in for a real dogfight. Sunoiler is giving it their all as they chase down Eddie G in P1. Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle pal, but Sunoiler's plans have gone walkabout right now. They're having a proper Barry Crocker keeping up with Eddie G. As we enjoy seeing these titans of the track battle it out, let's not forget about the pit crews. Those guys and girls are like a well-oiled machine themselves.
Absolutely. They're the unsung heroes of the racing world. But you know what they say, behind every great driver is an even greater pit crew.
This is where the skill and precision of the drivers really comes into play. Sunoiler is chasing Eddie G in P1.
The gap's closing, the clock's ticking, and the finish line awaits its champion.
Look at that, they're trading places in every turn, a constant game of cat and mouse. Each driver knows one mistake could cost him dearly. It looks like Sunoiler has found another gear in the last sector of the race. What a win! This is a historic moment for Sunoiler, who put on a masterclass in driving today. What a display of skill and precision. Eddie G takes second place with a fantastic race. Coming in sixth, we have Andreas Dittmann. Excellent focus from Joe Ergu to secure a fantastic third place on the podium. Followed by Sandra W in fifth.